Last section in section 4 of standard procedures, 4.3, required documentation. So what is required documentation? This is all the stuff you need to have on hand when you're flying, right? So what do you need? What do you have to have with you when you fly? I mentioned this in the last section. I like to have a binder, a 3-ring binder with pockets, and I can 3-hole punch things and put them in there and photocopy my license, even though I have to have the card with me. The maintenance schedules, information about the airport. If I, like, okay, I'm going to fly near this airport, I want to know phone numbers. I can tuck that in there and take them out the next time. Anything that's going to stay in there, I 3-hole punch it, put it in the binder, and I'm ready to go. So what exactly is required? Your Part 107 license, have that card on you. Your aircraft registration paperwork. When you go to register your aircraft, assuming it is, over the 0.55 pounds, you're going to get that FAA number. There's a certificate you will download online, a PDF. You can print that out and put it in there. You have to show that you're registered, sort of like a car registration. Waivers, if you're flying with a waiver, these are becoming less and less common, but there are still times when you ask the FAA for specific permission to not have to abide by one of the existing regulations, and they will grant it to you. And you have to have that with you if you're going to fly and go above 400 feet or whatever it might be. It's very uncommon, but you got to have the waivers with you. Repair and maintenance logs. We talked about that in the last section. Logs of everything that that you have repaired, replaced, like the props, the time on the motors, things like that. Log time and service for each component, right? So basically just all that information, your logs. And this is important because it covers yourself legally. It's important because it's good practice. So you're going to do this and be a professional about it and make money and hope to do this long term. This is important, right? Like if you show up to a job site, right, and you just kind of show up with the drone and you got a bunch of stuff in your hand, your client's going to look at you, whether it's you're just starting out and it's a real estate shoot, or they're not going to have very much confidence in you. They're probably not going to hire you again. If you're just kind of a mess, right? And you're not really writing anything down. And you're just like, oh yeah, here's my drone, up here I go. As opposed to the other vision of like you show up, you've got a nice case, right? You pull your drone out, you've got your logbook, you've got your procedures, you write down all the information, you double check everything. You act like a professional. As someone who's going to hire a drone pilot, that's the guy I want to hire, right? That I'll pay more for that, right? To be sure, because you're putting them at risk as well. If I hire you to fly a drone and you do something, I might get sued too, right? So, as a client, I want the guy that looks professional and is kind of very particular about how they fly. Like I feel better about that. But it covers yourself legally as well. Certainly in terms of the FAA regulations, when they say you got to have these things and you can show, yeah, I have them. Or even if a police officer shows up because something happened, they're going to say, okay, yeah, you know what, you seem like you know what you're doing, and you're not, some 16-year-old kid with a Best Buy drone, just kind of winging it. Ooh, pun there, right? So that's it. So that's it for section 4, pretty short one. We're going to talk about airspace next, which is a big part of this exam. So my favorite part too. But anyways, hopefully yours. But anyways, we'll get right into that next, section 5.